We asked Kathy Griffin a question at her news conference today where she just dissolved into tears. I had a feeling this was going to be the one that really kind of resonated the most with her.
Well, it shows that there is a definite rift between her and her very close friend and former co-worker at CNN. That would be Anderson Cooper.
He said what she had done with the head, you know, the bloody head of Trump, the mock head, he called it disgusting. Yep. Completely inappropriate, but the word disgusting is, you know, it had an impact.
Yeah.
So we wanted to know the impact it had on Kathy Griffin.
It's pretty obvious.
And this is what happened.
Anderson Cooper called your photo disgusting. Do you think that was him talking, or do you think he was pressured into saying that?
How can we know?
I don't know. I thought that hurt. That's all. You know, I really.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a rift, and it also makes me feel like they didn't, because when we first saw that Anderson, when he tweeted that, I assumed that there must have been a conversation with Kathy first where he explained, look, I'm going to say this.
There might have been. We don't know.
But whatever, if there was a conversation, it clearly didn't alleviate her feelings about it. I mean,
and I don't want to sidetrack because Kathy said a lot, but just real quickly, Anderson, I know Anderson, you know, had and this is what we're told from everybody, you know, who's kind of involved in this, he had a lot of pressure in the sense that, you know, he's got to be, you know, come off objective on that show, and CNN's gotten a lot of heat for being anti-Trump.
Right.
So he was walking a tightrope, but clearly it affected Kathy. But Kathy went way beyond Anderson Cooper.
Yeah, she also talked about how she feels. What she says, it's not just President Trump who's attacking her. She feels it's his entire family. As she puts it, the first family is out to destroy her, and it's definitely had an impact on her.
I don't think I will have a career after this. I think he, I'm going to be honest, he broke me. He broke me. He broke me. And then I was like, no, this isn't right. It's just not right. And I apologized because that was the right thing to do and I meant it. And then I saw the tide turning and I saw what they were doing and I went, oh, okay, they're trying to spin this and they're making it about Barron, and obviously that was never my intent. I would never want to hurt anyone, much less a child, but I started to see what was really happening, and then it was a mob mentality pile-on.
Okay, I got to stop, Charles. I got a big issue with this because when we're the ones that put the picture up with Kathy Griffin holding the head in the first place, we were the ones that broke that. And, you know, I know that she was excited about, you know, the photo shoot, and she felt it was going to be received way differently than it was. But long before Donald Trump reacted to it, there was a torrent of criticism about it. So it wasn't Trump that is saying everybody go after Kathy. There were people going after Kathy long before Donald Trump spoke out. It was almost immediate.
But it seems pretty clear that she feels that once President Trump spoke out and his son spoke out and Melania spoke out, that's when the death threats started coming. That's also when she lost her job at CNN. That's when her show started.
I'm not defending
canceled.
Trump because I'm so pissed off with him over this Paris climate thing.
We'll get to that.
And this has nothing to do with Trump. But CNN didn't kowtow to Trump. They kowtowed to their own business.
I know what you're saying, but it sounds like from what she said in her news conference that's how she feels. She thinks that once the president and his family started reacting to it, that's when things really turned for her.
Now, here's the weird thing. Kathy said she doesn't take her apology back. But Lisa Bloom, standing next to her lawyer, and I'm not sure why she had a lawyer, but she had a lawyer.
That was never
She never
clear.
explained why they had a lawyer there, but Lisa did a lot of talking, especially at the beginning. And Lisa basically said there's not only nothing to apologize for, but that Kathy did this as kind of a parody of Donald Trump's criticism of Megyn Kelly when he said she's bleeding out of her ears, she's bleeding out of everywhere, and that this was kind of a parody to that. It was meant as it's fair humor, First Amendment. Lisa Bloom said this is misogyny, that there were men like Marilyn Manson who have done way worse.
Well, Marilyn Manson
blasted Trump.
But what she says, Marilyn Manson had done way worse, and nobody had called for him to lose anything.
So Lisa is acting like there is nothing to apologize for, yet Kathy said she still apologizes, yet then she took the same position Lisa did.
Well, yeah, and then she was very defiant, saying that she is not going to back down. She will continue making jokes about the president. and she's not going to be. She puts it. I'm a 56-year-old woman who's 110 pounds. I'm not going to back down.
Well, I think that the main thing was that she had to stick to her original apology. And so she did apologize as a human being. She reacted to everybody being upset with her, and she came out with that apology. Obviously, now she has a lawyer. She, I think, wanted to stick to the sentiment that she did feel bad about it. And that even though Lisa Bloom took the, affirmative of being aggressive and all that stuff, I think Kathy wanted to stick to, being the victim and being, sad.
And Anthony, I agree with you. The thing is, Lisa Bloom is representing Kathy Griffin, standing next to Kathy Griffin, saying, to me, the polar opposite in terms of the apology. And that was the weird part.
But I think polar opposite.
I think it wasn't the polar opposite. I think she wanted her lawyer to take the more aggressive approach, to put in all the things that Donald Trump has done, and what, she went through his whole entire what he's done wrong thing.
But that was a justification for it, not an apology for it.
No, but I think that's kind of like they wanted her to be that role and she to play the victim role.
Right.
Well, but then you can't have it both ways.
Lisa Bloom came out and she was the bulldog who was going to say, the president has done this, he's done that, he's a horrible person.
Kathy ended up saying that too. Kathy ended up saying that too. They both kind of said, well, not as aggressive, but they both said it. And it's just weird. Are you apologizing or are you not apologizing? I can't figure it out.
You can do both. You can apologize and feel upset, but you can also bring in politics of why she did what she did.
Kathy said it was inappropriate when she actually issued the apology. So is she saying it's inappropriate now? Is she changing that? Because she says she sticks by it, but all of her words...
She did say inappropriate in the apology, and I think that...
All of her words are the opposite of that.
Hi, my name is Audrey. I'm from Dayton, Ohio. I just want to say, don't let this distract you from the real issues about Donnie. She's doing everyone a disgrace and seeking attention. Him using his son as a pawn is pretty low. There's a big difference between death threats and dark humor. My question is, did Ted Nugent ever apologize for what he said about Barack Obama? And did Snoop ever apologize for his lavender video?
You know what? That's a good point about Snoop. Remember, because
that
was the whole thing, the Snoop thing. And
he skated on that one, didn't he?
Yeah, well, and that was the point that Lisa really came out swinging
The Snoop one is actually very compelling. That was good.
Yeah, and actually Lisa Bloom and Kathy didn't bring that one up.
That would have been a better one to me, even than
more recent.
That's right.
And it was more in line.
Make sure to subscribe to TMZ Live to keep up to date on the latest entertainment news.
And if you want to keep watching, click on one of these videos right now.